The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not overcome it. We gather tonight on a tiny speck in a vast universe. That tiny speck is called Earth. If the size of the known universe was ratioed to be the same size as Chicago, as I hold this pin up here, of course I just pricked myself with the pin, I'll recover. If I hold this pin up here, you could place the orb of the Earth ratioed down to size, and you wouldn't even see the speck. The universe is so vast. And what fills the majority of that universe is empty space, sometimes the lack of light, but there is light in the universe because there are tiny specks, again, in the grandeur of the universe that shine light. What are those tiny specks called? They're stars. And one of those tiny specks shone especially bright over 2,000 years ago over a Middle Eastern town named Bethlehem. I mean, something we can scarcely understand when we read stories from the Bible and try to put ourselves back in that time is that there were no streetlights. There was no electricity. There were no cars, no TVs, no cell phones with flashlights on them, of course. It was dark. When night came, it was dark. Even those of us who have spent time in the Boundary Waters or in the mountains of Utah may not even get how dark it got every single night. Maybe there were just a few specks of light coming from Earth where a late dinner was being prepared, or in a cold desert house without insulation, a fire was keeping everyone warm. Every speck of light matters. It's strange, isn't it? How God can do such big things with small packages. What is one candle in a sanctuary full of darkness? The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness shall not overcome it. What is it about one little baby born 2,000 years ago in a small town in the Middle East that was able to get us all here tonight together in one place, and for people all over the world seeking hope, forgiveness, reconciliation, love, a brand new start? Christ's light and life shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. Now, I don't think we want to take this metaphor too far. After all, darkness is also holy in many ways. Black is beautiful, amen? And we have something about nighttime that gives us permission to rest. Sometimes in the night, we can finally feel a peace we couldn't feel during the day. I think what's key about this metaphor is the ratio, that just one candle can scatter the darkness of an entire sanctuary, just like one life that started off so insignificant and even oppressed becomes our light going forward. There are times, though, when things seem and feel so dark and heavy. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? It seems like too much sometimes. The darkness can make us feel uncomfortable because of what may be lurking in our hearts: dread, guilt, anxiety, prejudice, loneliness, the fear of death itself. Darkness can feel invincible. So it was on that dark Night in Judea so long ago, dark was the stable, dark the fields where the shepherds lay with their flocks, dark with the power of the emperor, dark with the intent of King Herod that we learn about so sadly in the next days after Christ's birth. That the likely fate of another child born into squalor and margin, living under occupation, may end up the same fate, and yet then there was light. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness shall not overcome it. With this backdrop, can you imagine being the shepherds who work nights? Blessings to everyone who works nights. Of course, most people who are working nights are not here right now because they're working. But can you imagine the shepherds who are on the lowest rung of society? They are much more used to the dark than they are to the light. Can you imagine when the angels come and the glory of the Lord shone around them and they were what? Terrified. Because of course they were. The light was disruptive. And it was also redeeming because they heard the message. They rush to the manger. They have an encounter with Jesus and the Holy Family. Christmas didn't just happen to them. Christmas happens inside of them. And they cannot help but go and tell to all of what they saw and what they heard. And immediately, Christmas ends up being something that starts not just a moment in time, but a movement filled with power, peace, mystery, hope, reconciliation, forgiveness, love, and a brand new start. How is it that God is using the light, even from one candle, the birth of even one small baby, to start a movement of healing in your heart and a movement of love, of revolution in the world? We can all be part of the movement of Christmas, just as we just enjoyed seeing the light spread around the room. It's kind of cool to preach after the silent night moment. I've never had a chance to do that before because of the order of the service. But we get to carry that light, just like the shepherds, just like the early church, just like the wise men attracted wise people. We don't know if they're men or women. They were magi. That's all we know. They were attracted by another speck of light to the Christ child. One light can scatter the darkness, and the darkness shall not overcome it. And in the inspiring words of George Bernard Shaw, we are not feverish, selfish little clods of ailments and grievances. Okay, sometimes we are. Complaining that the world will not devote itself to making us happy. I am of the opinion that my life belongs to the whole community. And as long as I live, it is my privilege to do for the community whatever I can. Bernard Shaw goes on, life is no brief candle for me. It is sort of a splendid torch, which I've got a hold of for the moment, and I want to burn as brightly as possible before handing it off to future generations. The light of Christ shines in the darkness, and the darkness shall not overcome it. Amen. Amen.